Greetings my friends and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about a show that I attended last night at the legendary UEA in Norwich, UK. A band that I was absolutely shocked to see have a date appear at the UEA in humble Norwich in the east of England here. The mighty Lamb of God. Groove metal or new wave of American metal, whatever you want to call them, they are titans of modern metal, hailing from Richmond, Virginia, USA. Lamb of God are without a doubt one of the biggest bands in modern metal. They are leaders of their generation and they have rapidly excelled through the ranks and gained great notoriety for being one of the heaviest, one of the catchiest, one of just the best and most reliable bands in terms of live performance and also studio album output. So, the Mighty Lamb of God in Norwich. As soon as that was announced, I snapped up a ticket as soon as I could and attended the show with my usual gig companion. Off we set to Norwich to this very special show, an early show. And it was an early show, in fact. The doors opened at 6, curfew was 10, although we were out of there well before that, but I'll get onto that in a little while. Only one other band on the lineup, which was a British band called Heriot. Not quite sure how you pronounce it, but Heriot. And to be honest, I had not heard of them before. I was unfamiliar with them. I had read the name in one of the music magazines, giving them some praise, saying that they were one of the up-and-coming future bands, future heavyweights of British metal, or modern extreme metal, but I was unfamiliar with. And I will say that I was mightily impressed. They delivered a really, really hard-hitting performance. I am going to check out their material. I believe that they have an EP out last year or year before, not quite sure. But they were very, very good. It was an interesting mix of kind of crust punk and sort of grindcore, and then there was like industrial sort of elements to it, sort of death metal. It was just, I mean, this was a live interpretation, if you like, and I think that live interpretation could be different to us, certainly different to checking someone out on YouTube or Spotify or on CD. But this reception that I got, I felt that this was a very, very unique, very interesting mix of different styles of extremity, and at times it kind of reminded me of Full of Hell. Other times it kind of reminded me of Cradle of Filth. There was this whole broad spectrum, if you like, of extremity going on there. But I was really impressed, and the crowd were loving it. There was a lot of response to the band. There was circle pits and such of the like. They did really well, actually, and I should think that over the next few years, months, maybe even, we'll probably be hearing a lot more about them. So I'm definitely going to be checking them out, acquaint myself with the material of theirs, check out, see what they've got going on. But of course, the main event was the Mighty Lamb of God, a band that I have only actually once before had the pleasure of seeing live, and that was co-headlining a tour with Megadeth, alongside Children of Bodom featured there. And that was at Wembley in 2015. So it has been 7 or 8 years since I have last seen Lamb of God, and I can honestly say they were absolutely astounding. They took to the stage and they delivered such an energetic performance. It was heavy, it was hard hitting, and the crowd were certainly loving it. It was an endless stream of people trying to force their way into the mosh pit, into the ground area in front of the stage, where, if you're not familiar with the UEA venue, it's an interesting one because you get the floor area and then there's steps up to the next area. So you've got a little bit of a hazard in the way there as people are trying to go down, and people were streaming down there all night. It was crazy, but they absolutely delivered. Lamb of God delivered, and it was freaking brilliant. Randy Bly, he is a fantastic front man. He looks the part. He's got the stage presence. He's got the personality. You know, there was a little bit of, only a little bit though, but a little bit of crowd interaction between songs, which was quite amusing actually. Randy talking about his frustration that the Coleman's Mustard shop was closed. Of course, Coleman's Mustard from Norwich. And also giving an anecdote about upsetting an elderly citizen by encouraging their dog to jump up, and then laying down his appreciation of that dog not giving a fuck about what his owner thought. So it's just very entertaining stuff. But I have to say, Lamb of God, that was definitely one of the best live performances that I have seen in a while. They are a very tight outfit, very good musicians, absolutely delivered it, heavy as hell, with the likes of Mark Morton and Willie Adler there. These are very, very, very talented musicians that can absolutely deliver stunning riffs. So what we got here, because of course this is, and the backdrop certainly indicated that this was the tour, the UK tour for the 2022 album Omens. And this particular tour was this was more of an off night for the tour, because this was the State of Unrest tour, which was a co-headlining tour alongside German thrash legends Creator. They had a night off, so Lamb of God on their own had this little extra date added, which was at the UEA, a far smaller venue than what Lamb of God are used to playing now, I can tell you that. But this particular set list was, I believe, it's probably the same set list that they've been playing on their co-headline shows with the mighty Creator, and it was 14 tracks in total, I believe, and it was just so laden with classics and hits. I say classics, I can use that very loosely, fan favourites, because I don't consider Lamb of God to have been, that condemned to the realms of heritage bands, where Iron Maiden or Metallica, they've been thrown into that category, if you like, where it's like they're the classic heritage bands of metal. No. Lamb of God they're still relevant, they're still doing it, but they were delivering classic Lamb of God material. We did have some really cracking renditions of Ditch, one of my absolute favourite tracks from Omens, and we also had the title track as well. Two very strong tracks. But they actually opened up the set with Memento Mori, the opening track from the self-titled Lamb of God album prior to Omens, and that was fantastic. It was eerie. It had that intro, it builds the tension, the suspense, and then it just drops, and it's heavy, it's brilliant, the whole crowd goes wild. You just can't help but headbang. My neck is rather aching from the intense headbanging of last night, but worth it. Every single headbang was worth it. They also delivered, as I mentioned, a considerable number of brilliant back catalogue tracks. They did play Resurrection Man, another great track from that self-titled album, but the bulk of the set was comprised from earlier on, with the exclusion of those 2 tracks from Omens, the 2 tracks from Lamb of God album. We had 512 from 7, and then we also had Contractor from Wrath, absolutely storming track that got everyone moving, heavy as hell. But we had the likes of Ruin, we had the likes of 11th Hour, Vigil, composed the sort of pre-encore piece, absolutely beautiful rendition of that, so freaking crushingly heavy. We had Laid to Rest right at the end of the set. In fact, we had Now You've Got Something to Die For, Walk With Me in Hell. We just had some absolutely stunning back catalogue material there from the mighty Lamb of God. It delivered, and it delivered hard. Certainly when you get towards the end of the set there and they closed out with Laid to Rest, followed by Redneck, one of the classic Lamb of God tracks, if I can say that, and it was absolutely fantastic. Everyone lost their freaking minds, and rightfully so, because that is a groove death metal, thrash metal anthem, new wave of American metal anthem. Absolutely heavy, crushingly good stuff. And honestly, it was just a fantastic show. The band was so cohesive and so tight. There was not a blip. They did not let up. It was relentless bombardment of just crushing metal, and it really, really worked. And like I say, with some of those really highly regarded, if you like, tracks, the likes of Now You've Got Something to Die For and Walk With Me in Hell, you can't go wrong. They absolutely delivered it. It was a perfect balance of newer material from the self-titled and from Omens. Of course, touring for the self-titled album would have been cut massively short because of the global pandemic and cancelling tours and this, that and the other. But we got plenty of fan favourites thrown in there as well. So overall, my review, if you like, of Lamb of God at the UEA was that they were a freaking amazing band to see live. Great to see them again. It was an amazing performance and just a brilliant show. The only thing that I sort of struggled to get my head around was the fact that it was such an early show, and they came on stage at 8 o'clock and we were walking out there at 9:15. So they were on stage for about an hour and a quarter. But when you consider that they performed 14 tracks, they just laid down track after track. It was just brutal track, brutal track, brutal track. They didn't hang about. There was not too much idling. They just delivered the goods, which is no bad thing in my opinion. So, Lamb of God at the UEA, were you there? Did you enjoy that performance? Have you caught the mighty Lamb of God on their most recent UK tour, the State of Unrest tour? Have you seen them before? Are you a fan? Do let me know. I'm interested to hear other people's thoughts and opinions on this. They're certainly a highly regarded band by me and many others, of course, but interested to hear other people's thoughts and opinions as always. Thanks for watching, my friends. Feel free to like and subscribe as always, and check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all things good and heavy. Take care, my friends. Stay heavy.